Today's magic word is...
Just say it!
Today's magic word is...
Just say it!
Today's magic word is...
Just say it!
Explosion!
Dude, the explosion is going to mar these two.
Yeah, the explosion is going to leave a mark for sure.
That explosion will leave them both marred for life.
Oh, hey, yeah. Explosions result in marring that is permanent.
I bet the explosion mars everything around them.
Seems like the word of the day ought to be Mars.
Mars. Yeah. Totally agree. Who do we talk to?
You can talk to my hand while I remind the folks to click that like, share, and subscribe button.
Too funny, Featherhead. Welcome to Mythology 106. Mars. It's what I do.
Is Bob taking you to Bulk and Bump yet?
Still working on it. Hey, you know you don't have hands, right?
You're such a punk, Jorge.
Mars the planet goes by many names in mythology, such as Ares, Mangal, or sometimes Mangala, Pemba, Bhooma, and perhaps most importantly, Lohitanga, which means red-limbed man. Each adds detail to the creation, life, and ultimate fate of the planets Mars, Earth, and Venus. A simple dissection of the names will yield a very rich picture into the formation and life of this enigmatic red-limbed man. The name Mars itself really has just the one basic root, which is mar, meaning to impair the appearance of, disfigure. So as the god of war, it should be reasonable to say that Mars is known as Mars because its primary characteristic is that it mars, or at least it did at a different point in history, because the name is a pre-cataclysm name.
What god is that? Mars, the god of war.
This root of mar, to disfigure, is the dominant characteristic of the god, and as you will see, it's the reason why we know the planet is Mars to this day. We're going to begin with the Daily Telegraph story on Bhooma and his mother Bhumi, which is the Earth. The story begins by telling us Mars is the son of Earth. There's an important distinction here. Mars is not the son of the Earth, but the son of Earth, as in the core we call Athena, and which the story calls a placenta that will become the Earth. This core, in this story, is still inside the Z-pinch and is waiting for Hephaestus to crack open Zeus's head.
Mars in Mangal is taken to be the son of Earth, personified as Bhomi Devi, when Earth was lying submerged under the cosmic ocean, stolen by the demon Hiranyaksha. Vishnu, in his incarnation as Varaha, brought it out on his tusks and placed it in orbit. He embraced Bhomi Devi and gifted her a red coral as a token of their courtship. But Bhomi Devi dropped the coral into the ocean. From the coral emerged a beautiful red child who got the name Lohitanga, which translates into red-limbed body. The child is also called Bhooma, meaning Bhumi's son.
Man, gal. Masculine, feminine. Using the convention that male equals electric and female equals magnetic, we can say that Mars is fundamentally electric, man, and also has a secondary magnetic element, gal. We know Mangal more commonly as static electricity, but in this description, we are speaking of an electrostatic core forming an electrostatic ball. Electrostatic balls come in either negative or positive, but they are only ever one or the other. He was red at both ends, representing a positive charge. Man in Sanskrit means to sound. Gal means drop down or fall. The name is telling us that there was a sound and then something fell or dropped down. Let's revisit Mythology 103 briefly, because if Mars was born with Athena, then the sound before the drop should be Hephaestus's axe against Zeus's forehead.
So Athena is born from the forehead of Zeus. Crazy stuff. So the story goes like this, right? Zeus gets a headache. You know, it's prohibition, he can't get any marijuanas. So he calls up his buddy Hephaestus, and Hephaestus comes over, and he does him real solid. He takes an axe, and he smacks Zeus right in the middle of the forehead. The craziest thing happens. Out of it pops Athena, fully grown and fully armored.
Except that axe wasn't from the outside. It was from the inside. There was a buildup of a positive electrical potential, Hephaestus, and then there was a discharge. Our character, Mangal, then dropped down from the 0 point, and down is a very specific direction. Mars dropped down. Bhumi and Bhooma are another fascinating set of names. Bhu means to be purified in Sanskrit, and so the Bhoo of Bhu embodies the idea of purification occurring in a Z-pinch, something you might expect under high pressure. In Sanskrit, the me of Bhumi, the mother, has a few meanings, but one important one is to set a limit. In this context, that limit was set to be negative only. The Earth has a limit, and that is that it is a negatively charged body. Me can also mean to measure, to fix to the Earth, to construct. Pulling it all together, the name Bhumi tells us that there was a purification of a negative charge constructed and fixed to the Earth's core. Because things in electromagnetism come in pairs. If Bhumi, the mother, is affixed to negative, then Bhooma, the son, would be fixed to positive. Negative, positive.
So I hope that makes sense why we consider the Earth to be the mother of Mars. But in a lot of mythology, Earth and Mars are considered to be twins. And what we'll find is that the stories are the exact same stories, but they're just told with slightly different perspectives.
Hindu mythology also called the two planets Pemba and Earth, and they come from God's egg, another metaphor for the 0 point, or Zeus's forehead.
From God's egg came a pair of twins, including a rebel, Pemba, who left the egg before he should have. He moved through space, carrying with him a part of his placenta, which would become the Earth.
The placenta in this case is the core of the Earth, and Pemba is not only a twin, but a rebel, because the attack in the egg was an act of rebellion. It was an act of war, making Pemba the god of war, who Mars. Pemba, the rebel, took off for the very simple reason that like polarities repel. More specifically, a positive electric charge will repel another positive electric charge. Like charges repel. Like a son rebelling against his father, the positively charged red-limbed man broke away from the positively charged Z-pinch. Pemba left before he should have. Pemba was a rebel. Why was Athena in tow, though? Well, because as soon as Zeus took an axe to the forehead, that positive polarity of the Z-pinch that had held her there, because opposites attract, well, that dissipated. Mars would eventually slow down and turn around, hitting the Earth and causing us to become impure, as the iron-rich surface of Mars mixed with the surface of the Earth. Mars had an incestuous relationship with the Earth, and by doing so, became impure. The incestuous relationship resulted in a very early cataclysm between the Earth and Mars, where the two bodies initially hit, and the Earth, which is a negative body, absorbing and then equalizing the electric charge. We get this motif in several myths, where Athena claims the hide or the skin of her opponent. I'm going to suggest that these substructures represent the remains of the planet's original crust before the very first impact. One question we all want to know is whether Mars had life. Here's what Hindu mythology tells us.
After hearing of his origin from the sage, the child went to the forest and did penance for a long time. Pleased with his devotion, Brahma accorded him the position of a planet in the celestial sky.
Went to the forest means that life grew on the planet, trees. And like the Earth, Mars was coated and grew over a very long time to be granted the size of a planet. These collisions would continue to happen over time, causing the Earth to store the excess charge, and each time making the planet larger and causing the mass extinction events that Georges Cuvier found in the limestone of Paris. Throughout Earth's history, as the planet grew, it caused the size of viable life to get smaller in a classic survival of the fittest model. The smaller you were on the now expanded and more dense Earth, the more likely you were to survive. These cycles of collision and mass extinction are what drove the evolutionary process of all species on the planet over the long road. As I said in the beginning, the easiest way to visualize the name Mars is to remember that the name is a pre-cataclysm polar alignment name.
What god is that? Mars, the god of war.
It mars anything it wants, and then brings peace and harmony for a time. That time always ended when Venus's husband Hephaestus would come around and begin making a fuss about Venus and Mars' affair in front of all the other gods. That big fuss culminates in the Venus cataclysm.
Yeah, so as I'm doing this video on Mars, it's the craziest thing, but I'm at Bulk and Bump on Friday night, and it turns out it's the lead guitar / sitar player's birthday. His name is Maz. And so I was like, Maz, Mars, boy, those are close. So I stopped him after the concert and I said, hey dude, fantastic concert. Can I ask you about your name? Is it a family name? And he says, yeah, it's a Persian name. It's a family name. And I said, do you know what it means? And he says, Maz means protector of the moon. And that's exactly what Mars was at the end of the cataclysm. It was the protector of the moon. And had it not protected the moon, we wouldn't be here today. Don't forget to click that like, share, and subscribe button, and leave me your thoughts in the comments down below. Peace.